what the book of Acts has taught me, and also what I have learned from the book of Acts. For me, the story of Peter really stood out to me because I can personally identify with Peter. Peter was a disciple, a follower of Christ. In the book of Acts, we learned that he was in prison not once but twice, and Peter was told that if he kept on spreading the message of Jesus, that he was going to be in prison and killed. And on the second time that Peter was in prison, there was a trial before him. Stephen, I believe is his name, was put to trial and killed the day before Peter's trial was expected. The day before Peter's trial, an angel came down, appeared to him, and spoke to Peter and told him that he was going to release him from the chains and get him out of there. Instantly, the chains were removed, broken off of his wrist, and the angel told him to follow him. I think there was 2 to 4 sets of guards. I wasn't really clear on that part, but the angel walked Peter right past the guards, all the way out, and the gate to the place where he was being held, the gates just opened up for them. I didn't have to open them or anything. And then the angel just disappeared. And Peter could have easily, at that point just ran and never spread the message of Jesus Christ again and what he had observed. But instead, he continued spread the message of Jesus and continued to get more and more followers of Christ and people that were, following his preachings. Peter was saving people. He was baptizing people. He actually preached a sermon where I believe that he saved 3,000 souls in one day. And, Peter was threatened and knew that, if he was caught doing this, that his life was in jeopardy. But to him, it didn't matter. It was more important to him to get out and spread the message of God. And I think that's an important point for us to think about, is not to what, we feel like people are going to think about us, or, how people are going to look at us, or, any of that stuff doesn't matter. Just like Peter, we should just get out there and spread the message of Jesus Christ and try to reach out to as many people as possible. For me, it personally identifies with me just from a recent time that I had spent in jail for some unresolved matters for about a week. I was in more than one position, but one position really stood out to me because I was in a cell with over a dozen men. I think it was 13 men, and everybody was loud and, talking, having their own conversations. One of the men, and he was a little bit older than me, he spoke to me and said, what are you going to court for? And I explained to him the situation, and I went on to explain to him that, my pastor and boss was there, and also that I, was celebrating a year of recovery in September 9th. And he instantly spoke to me. His whole demeanor changed and asked me wow, man, how did you do that? How did you stay sober for a year? I've been trying to get clean for the past year. I failed eight drug screens. And I said, well, I found Christ as my Savior and accepted Jesus and been trying to walk his path, and found a church and went on to explain to him all the things that I had done. And within about a minute of going into details with him about my journey, I took a look around the cell. Everyone was quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone's attention was focused on me. And we were in there for a good 2.5 to 3 hours. And I spent about 30 minutes telling the entire story. And then I spent another hour answering questions from everyone in there. And, questions from, where do you live, to what denomination church do you go to? Do you think that they would accept me? And I was able to reach these people in a way that no one else, could reach. And, I really think about Peter when I think of this, because even in prison, he was able to preach to people about Jesus. He was able to save souls in prison. I just think that it's really important that we get out there and continue our discipleships, no matter what the cost, no matter how other people are going to feel about it. And that's some really important things that I want